welcome. Today I have something really special for you, and I'm really excited to share this with you. Like I said in my email, or if you didn't see the email, I shared this in my Think and Thin Advanced Q&A call, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I'd completely forgotten about this technique. I remember using it on myself years and years ago, and I don't know why it came to me during this call, and so I gave the students direction on how to do it, and many of them came back and said how powerful it was. And so I worked on a script today to lead us all through a breaking up with the food ceremony. First, I just want to kind of do a recap of what we've learned over this last week. So this is day 6, and I just want to, if you haven't been following along this video series, I just want to backtrack what we've learned and what you've learned, and then encourage you, if you haven't watched all the videos from the beginning, definitely watch all the videos, because there's really, really cool, very, very different advice in every single video. So in the first video, you learned how to tap for anxiety and fear about the coronavirus, and how to get even better results with your tapping by slowing down. Okay, remember I showed you that technique? The next video, you learned how to stop emotional eating using the push the food away technique. Then you learned how to create your own tapping script, and how to understand exactly how you're feeling and what you're saying to yourself, and how to use that in your own tapping script. And that video, again, is great for you if you've been tapping for a really long time, or if you've just started tapping. So that's a great video to send to your friends, anybody that you want to introduce to tapping. That one I kind of started from the beginning and taught the basics, and then went all the way up to this is how you actually tap. Then in the next video, you learned how to boost your immune system by tapping for stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Do you remember we did that one? And then you learned how to stop stress eating, even with all the food in your house right now. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. If you're here or if you're on the replay, just tell me where you're tuning in from. I always love to see where everybody lives and where everybody's from. And then send me some hearts and some likes, just so I feel the love. So I want to talk about food addiction for a minute, because that's the thing that I've studied the most in my life, and that's what I'm known as an expert in. When I was going through the height of my struggles with food addiction, one of the messages that I kept getting was that food was actually protecting me from something else. And what I didn't realize until much later was that food addiction was one of the best addictions that I could have, because it wasn't drugs, it wasn't alcohol, it wasn't gambling. Think about all the addictions there are out there, and how terrible many addictions are. And while food is the hardest addiction to break, because it's not like other things with alcohol and drugs or smoking, where we can just stop it and never have it again. Food addiction is much harder to break, because we have to always eat food. And so that's why I've dedicated my life to understanding the brain and how it relates to food, and understanding why we have addiction and why we're addicted, and then learning how to reprogram that. By just changing the brain chemistry, basically. I just want to offer that perspective here, because once I got to that place with food, I think a lot of us have a lot of judgment around food and our bodies and our weight, and our out of control behavior around food. And I know I spun out and cycled out for years and years and years into shame spirals and all sorts of negative critical attacks towards myself, because I had this problem. But I wanted to offer that little reframe around food, and how it's actually protected you from some other much worse addictions. There are a lot of other things that you could be addicted to that are way worse than food. And so today, we're gonna actually thank the food for being in our lives. We're gonna thank the food for protecting us, for serving us, for being there for us, because if you really think about it, the way that people use food is kind of like having a friend, a best friend that's always there, a best friend that's always there to serve you, to make you feel better. And that can be really hard to give up. I know a lot of students, once they start going through my programs, that's one of the things that they say is, my gosh, my eating is changing so fast, but who will I be if I don't have this problem? What will I do if I don't have food? And that's always really interesting to me when that comes up, because it speaks to how safe this relationship feels for us. And so I remember personally when I did this, I was walking on the trail behind my home one day, and I realized that it was cookies that I was thinking about. Cookies had always been there to serve me. And I started tapping on myself, and I just remembered I just started sobbing when I realized that the food was actually protecting me. And I could have gone on a very, very different road in my life had I gotten addicted to some worse foods. And so I just spent, a lot of time just tapping and crying and thanking the food, and then honoring it, but also saying, but this isn't a healthy relationship, and I want to depend on people. I want to include people in my life. I want to learn how to depend on other people emotionally. And I think that's one of the things that emotional eaters or food addicts or overeaters, whatever you want to identify as, I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do, is to learn how to depend on other people. Because most of the time, a lot of us grew up in very unhealthy environments where depending on other people wasn't safe. And so using food was the only way that we knew how to keep ourselves safe. But the truth is, now we're adults, and we can learn new healthy ways to deal with our feelings, and we can learn how to develop good, healthy relationships, so that we can depend on people and not food. So take a nice deep breath, everybody. Feel yourself grounded in your body, grounded in this moment. And I'm going to say a statement right now, and I want you to notice how true it feels for you on a scale from 0 to 10. I rely on food to make me feel better. And we're going to start tapping through the points. So just follow along with me. Hi, Ricky. I love you too. Thanks for being here. Alyssa, thank you. All right, tapping on the karate chop point here. Even though I rely on food to make me feel better, I accept myself and I accept these feelings. Even though I rely on food to soothe me, I accept myself and I accept these feelings. Even though I rely on food as a way to cope with my emotions, I accept myself and these feelings. Thanks, girls. I can see your comments. I was a 10 until I started following you. That's cute, Valerie. All right, tapping through the points here. Food has always been there for me. It's like an old friend. I can always rely on it. I know it will always be there. It helps me feel calm when I need it. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have food. I don't know what it would be like to not depend on food. It's scary to think about not using food to calm myself down. It makes me stressed out to think about it. Because food's always been there for me. It takes all my stresses away. I know I can eat and then I'll feel relaxed. But I also know I'm using food in the wrong way. And it's not healthy for me. I'd love to be able to just enjoy food and not feel like it has this much control over me. All right, take a nice deep breath. Tuning back into your body. Keep tapping through the points. When I think about breaking up with food, I feel really stressed. It scares me to think about not having my food. I don't know what I'll do with myself. I feel anxious about the idea of breaking up with food. It always comforts me when I eat it. It fills me with positive emotions. I feel protective of my relationship with food. It's my food and you can't have it. I'm a little scared to break up with my food. I'm scared to get over this problem. I don't know who I'll be if I don't use food to soothe myself. All right, take a nice deep breath. So this is the part that I noticed with a lot of my students where they would actually start to feel rebellious. Like, wait a second, don't take my food away. I don't actually want to get over this problem. I don't know who I'll be if I don't have food. What am I going to depend on? So let me know if you're feeling that right now, because we're going to get into, now these are called the rebel statements. Okay. So when you're feeling very rebellious, you voice it, you say it out loud. Okay. So tapping through the points. I don't want to break up with food. It's always been there for me. You can't take this away from me. Typically when you're feeling rebellious, it's like the little inner you that's the rebel. So we like to give it like kind of like a little girl voice. You can't take this away from me. It's mine, so there. It's my food and it makes me feel happy. I know I can always depend on it. It's like a friend. It's my friend. It will never let me down. I'll never be able to break up with my food. I do not want to give up my friend. I know it'll always be there for me. And I'm scared to lose that. All right, take a nice deep breath here. Continue tapping through the points. But the truth is, soothing myself with food isn't healthy for me. When I do it, I eat way too much. And then I feel bad. And then I eat even more food. And the cycle continues. I know using food in this way isn't healthy for me. So I might be open to changing my relationship with it. All right, take a nice deep breath. Now we're gonna get into the thank you part, and this can typically be the really emotional part. So I wrote out some statements. I always like to encourage everybody to use their own words with this because it's just better if you use your own words, but because we're tapping together in a group, I'm gonna use some sort of general statements, but if there's something that really feels true for you that you wanna say to the food, then I want you to make sure to tap through that and just let yourself feel it and cry and be grateful and thank the food and say whatever it is you wanna say, okay? Tapping through the points now. Thank you, food, for all you've done for me. Thank you, food, for always being there for me. Thank you for protecting me from other unhealthy addictions. In a lot of ways, you kept me safe. I'm grateful to you for helping me. I'm grateful to you for serving me. You've been like my best friend throughout the years. You've always been so dependable. You've always been there for me whenever I needed to feel better. But now it's time I learn new ways to make myself feel better. It's time I learn how to depend on people rather than stuff things down with food. So I'm choosing to break up with you. Because in reality, you're just food. You just lay there. You're not really my friend. You can't really love me. But I still really love you. All this sadness. Saying goodbye to a longtime friend. All this grief. It's hard to let it go. I've depended on you for so long. All this sadness, this grief. Thank you for serving me. Thank you for always being there for me. I'm choosing new, healthier ways to feel better. Like tapping or like exercising. I can find real connections with friends. I choose to feel calm and at ease now. I feel proud of myself for making this change. Every day it gets easier and easier. And I'm loving how confident I'm feeling. I'm loving how much energy I have. I'm so happy with the way I'm starting to feel. I'm excited about all the new possibilities I have now. I'm making space for more connection. I'm making space for new interests and ideas. I'm radiating so much positive energy. I'm beginning to glow from the inside out. I feel confident and I'm so proud of myself. All right, take a nice deep breath. All right, and we're gonna go back to the original setup statement here and say, I rely on food to make me feel better, and notice how true that is for you on a scale from 0 to 10. Okay, now this is just some ideas. If you wanna repeat this again, you can absolutely do that. If you want to spend some time tapping with food, if there's one food in particular that you really, really feel like is a particular crutch for you, this could be a really good exercise to use for that. And then just sort of observe how you feel around food for the next couple of days. And, you know, just, again, come back to this video, repeat this process over and over again. And I think you will have some amazing, amazing results. And you'll notice your relationship with food really shifting. All right. Be well, everybody. Sending you all love. Thank you for being here. To watch this video again, just click the share button. That saves it to your wall, and then you'll always know where to find it.